Greetings, this is Rodrigo and welcome back to Let's Play Lamplight City.
About your appointment with Charlotte.
What about it?
Right. These are the things I want you to ask her about.
I totally forgot about this.
So you want me to take off about an inch, but keep enough for your curls?
Yes, that's right. You know how I like it, Adelaide.
Has anyone special caught your eye recently?
Ha! No, I think I'm getting too old for most of the young pups I see around these days. Besides, marriage has proved to be more trouble than it's worth. I'm finished with that whole game. Although there was one fellow who came into the supper club today. Pity he was only interested in asking questions.
Oh?
Yes, the dark brooding.
It's a good thing we didn't
sleepless nights
try to
etched all over his face.
seduce here.
Still handsome though. I invited him to join me for a drink, but he refused. Turned out he was a private investigator, if you can believe it.
Oh? What was he asking about?
Nothing of consequence. I didn't tell him very much anyway.
Probably for the best he didn't join you for that drink then. How was the Grand Dame's ball? Was your hairdo a hit?
Oh, it was. All those other old biddies were practically fainting with jealousy. Truth be told, though, the evening was rather dull. Just the regular crowd of wags and gossips. You know, sometimes I envy people like you, Adelaide.
People like me.
Yes, you know, ordinary people. Being a member of high society can be so draining. One quite lacks a sense of purpose, of ordinary honest usefulness that comes from a good day's labor.
Have you done much of that sort of labor yourself, madam?
What? No, of course not. But I imagine it must be quite good for the soul, quite grounding. Just being what you are. No airs or pretense. Oh, you've missed a bit there on the left ear. Do be sure it comes out even.
Certainly, madam. I was reading in the paper this morning about what happened with Desiree Lathan. Did you hear about that?
Oh, such a tragedy. Poor Desi. We hadn't talked in a long time, but how terrible to think of her dying in such a horrible way.
My condolences.
Thank you, dear.
Did you and Desiree used to be friends?
Oh, we were like sisters at one point.
What happened?
What else? A man got involved.
You were both after the same man?
No, quite the contrary. We both enjoyed being unattached and had vowed to keep it that way. The spinster sisters, we used to call ourselves. But I fell for a man a few years ago. We got married and Desiree stopped speaking to me.
That's a shame.
Yes, especially considering the marriage only lasted a few brief months. I lost both my husband and my best friend. I'm sure there's a lesson to be learned in that.
Get better friends? I mean, why would you drop a friendship for that?
I heard someone mention that Desiree had her portrait painted recently.
Yes, I heard that too. I think it was Caroline who told me. Yes, that was it, Caroline. She was looking for a portrait artist and told me Desiree had found one. Roger DeVay, I think she said his name was.
Roger DeVay? Sounds mysterious. Who is he?
Well, I don't know about mysterious. He's just an artist. Not a very good one either, from what I hear.
He didn't do a good job on the portrait?
Oh, no, he did fine. I just meant he hasn't really taken off. His paintings aren't worth very much, you see. But Desiree took a liking to him very quickly. Even went as far as giving him an extra key to her apartment. If there was anything more going on between them, I couldn't say. But she could have done a lot better, if you ask me. I mean, he's barely even an artist now. I heard he took a teaching position at the university. Now, who would want their likeness immortalized by a lecturer?
I see. Well, I hope he makes it in the world someday.
miracles may happen.
I have to say, your musical selection for today is lovely.
It's nice to know someone like you can appreciate some of the finer
Jesus, the
points of
condescension.
music. In case you were wondering, the piece is the Fourth Symphony by a composer named Theophilus von Wagner.
Yes, it's refreshing to hear the Fourth Symphony for a change. Most people know von Wagner for his Fifth Symphony or his Lute Concerto in D minor.
Oh, you know von Wagner?
Although I admit he isn't one of my favorite Baroque composers, I can appreciate what he brought to the movement. I'm more in favor of Scaravaldi. His development of the Concerto Grosso makes for much richer musical tapestry. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, well.
She was an actress, right?
Do you have any favorites among Scaravaldi's works?
Ah, you are trolling here.
First Symphony is quite riveting.
Do you mean his Concerto for Mandolin? He didn't have a First Symphony as such.
Well, yes. That's what I meant. As much as I enjoy chatting, perhaps you should concentrate on what you're doing, dear.
Nice.
Quite chilly out today, isn't it?
Yes, a good day for spending indoors.
Probably means we'll be getting an earlier winter.
It's a good thing I bought a new set of coats then.
Good. I think that's all finished.
Thank you, Adelaide. It was a pleasure, as always.
Likewise, Miss Robinow. I'll see you next week. And she didn't tip very well either.
I'm sorry, dear. She sounds positively dreadful.
No more than the other Gascon Grand Dames. I just hope you managed to get something useful from that.
I think we did.
I'll see you later, Addie.
I look forward to your return.
She said unironically. Alright, let's go visit this. Alright, that's not what I expected, but okay.
All the tools an artist would ever need. Brushes,
Maybe we can get some oil here.
canvas,
Yeah.
paints. There's also several jars full of clear liquid. Interesting. Huh. This is linseed oil. It's used as a drying agent for oil paintings. It would be a good idea to take a sample of this, Miles.
Yep.
Especially
You'll
now that
get-
nobody's looking.
Awesome. I want to see what he has to say about this.
So much for modesty. Ooh, is it warm in here or is it just me? These aren't half bad. Nice to know the students aren't completely wasting their time here. Where dreams go to die.
Excuse me.
Yes,
Are you Roger DeVay?
I am.
Miles Fordham, private investigator. I have some questions for you if you aren't too busy.
Will this take long? This isn't exactly the best time.
It shouldn't, no.
All right then, quickly.
Do you know Desiree Lathan?
Desiree? Yes, of course I know her. What happened to her was just awful.
Indeed. My condolences, Mr. DeVay. What can you tell me about her?
She was a wonderful woman. Sharp, full of life, extremely witty. I only knew her for a short time, but I consider myself lucky to have had her as a friend.
How did you two meet?
We were introduced at a party and became fast friends. It's hard to believe she's really gone.
Friends or friends with benefits? Weird that he has a key for her place. And also, I still find it weird that the banker didn't actually know that she was dead, since apparently everybody else does.
Do you have any information regarding Desiree's death?
No, none at all. It came as a total shock. I heard she was burned to death. Oh, is that true?
It is.
It's really just unthinkable.
Do you know of anyone who might have wished harm upon her?
No, everyone loved her. To think someone could be capable of doing that to her, it just makes me feel sick.
You painted Desiree's portrait, is that right?
Yes, I finished it just a few months ago.
Do you often do commissioned work?
Sometimes, but this wasn't exactly a commission, more like a gift.
You mean you weren't paid for it?
No, I didn't do it for money. It was an honor just to paint her.
I see. And did she like the result?
Well, she had it hanging in her bedroom and not in her attic, so I assumed she liked it well enough.
It was a rather nice portrait, I must admit.
Oh, so you've seen it?
Indeed, I have. Regrettably, I can't comment on the likeness, never having seen the subject in life.
Ah, yes. Well, she used to say that standing in front of it was like looking into a mirror. I tried my best to do her justice.
We have a portrait that shows her, although we don't know what she looks like. And we have a corpse that doesn't actually have a face. I'm still wondering if this is just let's pretend I'm dead and get something. I'm not sure what the motivation could be, but you know.
How long have you been teaching at this university?
About 4 years now.
And do you also earn money with your painting?
Not of late. I haven't sold a painting in some time. But my salary from the university is enough for the time being. Perhaps someday I'll be able to devote the proper focus to my painting.
I'll let you get back to your class.
Right.
Alright. So now we can go and check the oil. But before I do that, I do want to check the portrait once again, just because reasons. I don't know.
Need to have an...
All right.
That guy's very helpful.
That's a nice portrait of Miss Lathan. The area where the artist's signature.
But the date is still legible.
Yeah, we know all about that. Okay, I wanted to see if we can zoom or, you know, get any details from that, but I don't see anything. She had some pearls, and that's it, pretty much. Like, we can't tell, unless we see her on the road or something. Maybe she's just dead and I'm paranoid. It is known to happen. I am paranoid in general, so, you know. Alright, let's check this out.
Now that we've got some linseed oil, it's probably worth testing.
And it's probably gonna be, well, it's almost 100% that's gonna be the correct one. The way they have this set.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll be damned. We've got ourselves a match. I wonder if Edwards knows anything pertinent about this stuff.
We shall ask him after we know, before we save.
Pardon me, Edwards.
Yes,
What do you know about linseed oil?
it's an oil made from flaxseed that has many uses. Most commonly, it's used to dry things like varnish or oil paints. Some people even eat it for health benefits. I hear it goes well with a bit of quark.
And it's flammable?
As most oils are, yes. Where are you going with this?
The oily residue on that rag is linseed oil.
Fascinating.
But I found no trace of anything used to light a fire at the crime scene.
Uh-oh, he's getting that gleam in his eye.
Wait just a moment. Linseed oil. Of course! Anytime linseed oil is used, extreme caution must be taken to dry cure rags that may be soaked in it. That's because when linseed oil dries and oxidizes, it releases heat. A pile of rags soaked in linseed oil in a confined space runs the risk of spontaneously combusting.
How long would this take exactly?
A few days, at least.
Interesting. It's a rather uncertain means of murder, but it's excellent for appearing accidental.
It's certainly not the most far-fetched conclusion you've ever come to.
There is no way to know that the person you're gonna kill gonna be there when the fire is set. So the only way to do that is to put the body that's already dead there and then burn it.
Have you had a chance to look at those ashes I gave you?
Yes, I have. Unfortunately, there isn't much I can tell you. The victim burned to death at a very high temperature. These ashes are greasy and putrid because of liquefied fat from the body, which burned like a candle.
It's quite all right, Edwards. I appreciate the information nonetheless.
Well, just so you don't go away empty-handed, have a copy of my report. Maybe it will be of some use.
I think I can use this maybe to talk to the
Thanks.
lawyer.
That's all I needed to know for the moment.
Anytime, Fordham.
Hopefully. It is an official document, I'm guessing. Yep. Alright. Progress. I think. The lawyer is there. Yeah. Now let's save it.
Begging your pardon, sir.
Yes?
Perhaps Mr. Usher will see me when he sees this.
Oh, what's that?
A report from Dr. Malcolm Edwards, the city coroner, confirming Miss Lathan's untimely demise.
Let me see that. Oh my. Wait one moment, would you?
Martin, what is the meaning of this?
The gentleman who brought that is a private investigator. He's waiting outside to see you.
Send him in then.
You heard him, Mr. Fordham. You may go inside and see Mr. Usher.
Thank you kindly.
Finally.
So, a private investigator, are you?
That's right. Miles Fordham is my name.
Jonas Usher, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Pleasure's all mine.
So, it would seem that Miss Lathan has shuffled off the mortal coil, as it were.
I'm sorry to say that is indeed the case.
It would seem.
Please, come in, have a seat. Make yourself comfortable. I only ask that you kindly wash your hands in the basin first, and limit what you touch in here.
This one seems a bit on edge, doesn't he?
Okay. He's a germaphobe. Did they know of germs back then? I don't know.
Thank you, Mr. Fordham. I appreciate your cooperation.
Is there anything more boring than books on law? Just reading the titles is making me drowsy.
I mean, if you like law, perhaps it's not as boring.
Stern-looking lady. Judging by how full these bottles are, Usher doesn't indulge much. What a waste.
Is this?
Usher seems to like keeping his guests at a distance.
Mr. Usher, I have some questions for you.
And hopefully I have your answers.
Nice special here.
What can you tell me about Desiree Lathan?
She was a lovely woman. I'm saddened to hear of her unfortunate passing.
How long had you been her attorney?
She retained me some 10 years ago, I believe.
That's quite a long time.
Yes, I remember I had just gotten over a bout of melancholia and been able to work in nearly a month. I didn't think I'd make it out of that, but luckily things took a turn for the better. Miss Lathan came to see me, and I've served as her attorney ever since.
Would you say Miss Lathan is a wealthy woman?
Indeed I would. Her estate is worth a significant sum. Of course, you understand that this is confidential information, so I cannot tell you the exact amount.
Yes, of course.
Can we get the beneficiary?
Can you think of anyone who may have wanted to harm Miss Lathan?
No, I can't. What makes you think that someone actually killed her?
It seems the most plausible explanation.
Miss Lathan was getting on in years. It's likely she may have developed a case of pneumonia. That's the most common killer of the elderly, you know.
She burned to death,
I
dude.
had it when I was younger. Most unpleasant. Constant coughing, spitting up phlegm, rattling in the lungs. Thankfully, I made a full recovery.
But supposing that was the cause of death, how would it explain the fact that her body was completely burned?
She was a smoker. Perhaps she was having a cigarette when she died and dropped it on the bed, causing it to catch fire.
I found no cigarette butts at the crime scene.
I'm merely offering my opinion, Mr. Fordham. You can take it or leave it.
I think we should leave it.
I found this letter in Miss Lathan's bedroom, which mentions that she recently changed her will. Could you tell me a bit more about the circumstances surrounding this change?
That's not an uncommon occurrence. People change their wills all the time. Relatives and friends fall in and out of favor constantly.
Had Miss Lathan made changes to her will previously?
No, this was the first time.
What change did she make exactly?
Just a change to her beneficiary. Nothing out of the ordinary.
And when did this change occur?
About 4 months ago, if I recall correctly. Yes, it was definitely in June, because I'd been in bed with a nasty stomach flu at the end of May. That was no fun, let me tell you. I think I lost nearly 6 pounds from the constant trips to the WC. Couldn't keep a thing down, and whatever did stay down soon came out the other end, if you get my meaning.
I'd say his meaning is regrettably impossible to avoid.
Did he change it for the painter?
Who did Miss Lathan name as her new beneficiary?
Mr. Fordham, please. You know I couldn't possibly tell you that. There is such a thing as attorney-client privilege.
I'm aware of that. However, Miss Lathan is deceased. Therefore, it stands to reason that she is in fact no longer your client.
True, but her estate is still in my hands. I'm not going to betray her trust just because she's dead.
About Miss Lathan's beneficiary.
I told you, Mr. Ford.
Do you not find it suspicious, Mr. Usher?
We'll go for the
that
sneeze
Lathan
in the
died
end.
under such mysterious circumstances only 4 months after naming a new beneficiary? You said yourself she was wealthy. Does it not make sense that someone might have wanted her inheritance?
I suppose it's not entirely out of the question.
Right. So tell me the name of Miss Lathan's beneficiary so I can determine if this was, in fact, a murder.
Very well. It was a man named Roger.
Rose the
Devane.
painter.
Interesting.
Do you know him?
His name's come up before in my investigation. Do you have his address?
Yes, it's 775 Pumblechook Place in Chumley.
That'll do nicely. Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
that guy seems like the primary suspect. Easily so far.
How long have you been practicing law, Mr. Usher?
Usher and Price has been operating since 1805. I took over from my father 15 years ago. The stress hasn't helped my heartburn, I can tell you that. Why, just last night I was tossing and turning because I couldn't stand the burning in my throat. That's why I've got these bags under my eyes, you know.
Ah, yes. And Mr. Price?
He's still here, although I think he'll probably be retiring soon as well. But the law firm has done well over the years, and I have a feeling it'll do even better in the years to come.
Oh? Why is that?
We're currently beginning a group litigation against Royal Maverick for the Lygia disaster. I'm confident that we'll recover quite a significant sum for the families of those killed. You weren't by chance affected by the disaster, were you?
Thankfully, I wasn't, no.
Shame. You could have joined the class action and done quite well when we win.
You know, I always thought we detectives made our living off human tragedy.
The Lygia so far has been the underlying thread that ties all these cases together, or at least the world around them. I'm guessing it's gonna be important.
Mr. Usher, I've noticed from your rules and habits that you seem to have a particular aversion to germs. Why is that, if I may ask?
I've been ill most of my life, Mr. Fordham. I was a sickly child, and unfortunately my condition hasn't improved with age. It's a miracle I'm still alive. That's why I'm so careful about exposing myself to germs.
I see.
How's my color? Do I look pale to you?
Not particularly.
I
You look
saw
pretty
myself in
tanned,
the
actually.
mirror this morning and thought I looked a bit peaked. Also, my leg has been hurting more than usual, which has been cause for concern.
Nah, you've really done it, Miles.
Yes, well, moving on. Thank you for your help, Mr. Usher.
Guess he's a
Pleasure is all
hypochondriac.
mine, Mr.
Cool.
Fordham.
Alright, so got his address, which means we can go and check it out. And he definitely seems like the main suspect. Why would we accuse Margaret Andrews? I don't know. That's weird. I mean, she's crazy and she has the fire thing going. I guess that's a good reason. But the monetary motive seems more realistic. Alright.
Did Usher give us the wrong address? This should be 775, but there's no building here. I used to draw funny pictures of rich people on walls too when I was a kid. Never did a lick of good, but it would always make me feel better. Yeah, those aren't half bad. Too bad they aren't finished. I wonder if they're going to be used to keep the fire going.
Is it, she sleep here? That doesn't make any sense.
By chum standards, that's practically a four-poster.
Excuse me.
Yeah?
Is this 775 Pumblechook Place?
Yeah, it would be if the building were still here.
Oh, I see. Might I ask you a few questions?
You can ask.
Do you know Roger DeVay?
Know him? Of course I know him. He lives here with me.
He does?
Well, whenever he decides to come home, anyway. Rest of the time, I suspect he finds a way to sleep at his job. Me, I'd do the same, except I can't stand the smell of the horses.
I suppose the university would have plenty of places for one to sleep.
Oh, so he works at the university, does he? Well, I suppose that makes sense with him always putting on the airs the way he does. Probably best not to mention me to him. He gets real testy when anyone asks about his situation.
I'll keep that in mind.
He's homeless then.
Tell me about Roger's artistic pursuits.
Well, not much to tell, really. He used to paint all the time when he had his studio in the building that used to be here. He was good at it, too. Shame nobody ever bought his paintings. All that's left now are those 200...
The building burn.
Back wall there. Well, he used the rest of his spare canvas to make the tent.
How did Roger feel about his paintings not selling?
Well, how do you think? Made him madder than the March air. Didn't do a very good job of hiding his displeasure either. Well, it's not around me. He always used to say he'd find some way or another to make the money he deserved.
Odd. He told me he was content with the salary he got from his teaching job.
That's a load of bunkum if I ever heard it. Truth is, old Roger's about as poor as Job's turkey. He'd do anything to make a quick crown.
Well, now, that's certainly interesting.
Do you know a woman named Desiree Lathan?
Nah, I don't know many women. They're not too fond of my company. I don't understand why. I always try to be a perfect gentleman. Guess I just don't got the charm. I've asked Roger to give me a few pointers. He's a big hit with ladies, you know.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah. He no sooner looks at them than they're falling at his feet. Real natural, that one. Never brings it back here, though. Always winds up staying with him, getting a free meal and a soft bed out of it. Ah, well, the bohemian lifestyle ain't for everyone. Maybe someday my luck will change.
I'm sure it will change the day he decides to take a bath.
What's your name, sir?
Me? I'm Herman. Herman Shaw.
How long have you been living here?
Oh, I've been here for ages.
Oh, it was
Just before the
condemned.
building got condemned, it was torn down. They pretty much forced us out, you see, but a couple of us came back and set up here. Seemed like a good idea, and I had nowhere else to go. That's not so bad, except for when it rains. And I guess we'll have to bundle up a bit more when it gets cold. But other than that, it was like the place was still standing.
There's some of that classic chum ingenuity. Or maybe it's just delusion.
What happened to this place? Why was it condemned?
The building was old, in a pretty sad state, so the inspectors came by and said it was unfit for living. There was a whole lot of us here. Most were able to pick up and go, but a few of us stayed.
Why don't you go to a workhouse?
You wouldn't be asking if you'd ever been inside one. It's wall-to-wall people, children crying, sick folk coughing all over you.
But there's plenty of that out here, too.
Well, sure, but out here, there's freedom. Nobody telling you what to do except the odd copper. Not even many of them in this neighborhood. Besides, this is my home. Just because it's missing a few walls don't mean I ought to abandon it.
You look somewhat familiar. Didn't I see you protesting outside the Harris construction yard?
Yeah, I was there. What of it?
Were you affected by the Lagia disaster?
Well, nobody I know was killed, if that's what you mean.
So, why were you protesting the construction of the Lenore?
Well, that Devons fella promised he'd buy us a meal if we stood in the crowd. And for a free meal, I'd do just about anything.
I thank you for your time.
Maybe give us a shilling or two for the trouble?
I'll consider it.
I'll consider it. Alright. Okay, I guess more things point to him. To go back and speak to him. But I'll do that next time. For now, thank you for watching. As usual, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, like, all the good stuff. I'll be back next time with more Lamplight City. See ya then.